Welcome in to another episode of the Mainly Hoops podcast, where we're back with another SEC transfer portal review. This one, the Missouri Tigers. Before we dive in, if you wouldn't mind, subscribe to the channel, it'd be much appreciated. But as for Missouri, they made several moves here this offseason. Cody, which one is your favorite?
I think my favorite one, at least for a scheme fit, would be Sebastian Mack. Obviously fairly limited as a shooter, and I just don't think the fit at UCLA was the greatest in a more of a half court based offense that was run through pick and roll a ton in the half court. And I just don't think that's Sebastian Mack's game at all. I think he fits in a fast paced scheme that wants to get to the rim at will, get to the line at will. I mean, this Missouri team last year's team was second in the country in free throw rate at a 47.1% free throw rate, which was pretty absurd. And that was a huge reason why they were the seventh best offense in the country per Torvik. But a guy like Sebastian Mack is 100% going to fit in with this scheme. He had a 57.4% free throw attempt rate himself, which is ridiculous, especially for a guard. Him and Anthony Robinson are going to probably easily lead the country in free throws. For a free throw, at least backcourt duo, they're definitely going to lead. But yeah, like I said, he's going to be not a match made in heaven, but I do think this Missouri style is really going to suit him well from that regard. I think he's a better playmaker than he's shown in the past or in his career at UCLA so far. And in the open floor, I think he's going to be able to showcase a lot more of those things.
Yeah, I agree. I think defensively fits in well, right? They're going to turn up the pressure. They're going to pressure you, and I think that's kind of a style that he fits more. Getting out in the open floor, turnovers, creating transition opportunities. He should thrive there a lot better than he did at UCLA. One of my notes, I actually said he gets the line a lot, like you said, 57.4%, which I said perfect for the SEC, right? It's absolutely perfect. Be prepared. Missouri games last year took 2.5 hours. This year, they might take 3. Sebastian Mack
that game against Alabama last year might have been 3 hours.
Brutal.
That was one of the craziest ones I've seen.
Yeah. But he's a physical driver that's gonna get to the line. It's gonna be perfect for the SEC. He's good in pick and roll. He's good in just getting downhill. But for whatever reason, all of his tape, he loves to make shots a lot harder than I think they need to be. He does all these acrobatic scoop things, and sometimes he's got a good frame on him. Right. So I don't really understand sometimes what he's trying to do, but miraculously sometimes he'll just flip it up and it'll go in, and he'll have fallen to the ground and it looks like it's a foul, and maybe it was, maybe it wasn't, but they call it anyway because he made it look like it was just he just got crushed. But no, I think he'll be a great fit for them. He'll definitely fit in quite well with their scheme. Couple other transfers. Shawn Phillips Jr. from Arizona State, Javon Carter from Loyola. What are our thoughts on those two?
I think Phillips is definitely going to help on the offensive glass, and he's going to help as a rim protector. Kind of ease the loss a little bit of a guy like Josh Gray. I think they're going to play similar roles, but I do think Shawn Phillips provides a little bit more of a punch from a rim protection standpoint. Not going to be a guy you play through in the post at all. Not really a guy that's going to be in primary actions, but I do think he's a serviceable big that's probably going to split time with a guy not Cruz. Cruz is more of a 3. A guy like Luke Northweather, who's coming in from Oklahoma, is going to be a guy that's going to come in and be like a stretch 5, a pick and pop threat. And just another note, every transfer that came in for Missouri, they had 5 of them. Some of them are projected to be at the end of the bench. They're all going to play a role at some point, and they're all going to play meaningful minutes at some point. because Dennis Gates will go 15 deep if he has to. Like, they have 14 guys on the roster right now. All 14 of them are going to play somewhat of a role at some point in the season.
There are 14 guys on roster. He might go 15 deep. He might turn.
He might put a jersey on. He might put a jersey on and play. I mean, it's just
he might
crazy.
Go to a manager. It's unbelievable, right?
It's just, like, I mean, he's a Florida State. He's a Leonard Hamilton disciple. Like, Leonard Hamilton did the same thing his entire coaching tenure there, and Gates is just kind of he had it at Cleveland State, and he's doing the same thing here. He has more talent now to work with at a Power 5 school, and he's absolutely going to do it. Like a guy like Jaden Stone, like, we didn't see him play last year. Like, I believe it was due to injury, but he averaged 20.8 points per game at Detroit 2 years ago, and he's going to be a guy in a fast-paced scheme that's going to be able to sort of fit in right away and play in a free and open style, and probably provide an impact at some point. Like, it was just a guy, like, one guy that pops to me. It was like T.O. Barrett last year as a freshman. Like, he wouldn't play the entire game, and then he would come in with like 2.5 to 3 minutes left. I remember, I think it was the game that they beat Florida on the road. He hadn't played the entire game. He comes in and he ends up being the primary ball handler with, I think it was like the 5 or 6 minute mark. Actually, he came in the game and just like was operating the offense for like 3 or 4 minutes when like Anthony Robinson had 4 fouls or something like that. That's just what Dennis Gates does. Like, he sees situations and just kind of goes with it. And so everyone on this team is going to have to be ready to go right away. And that's why I said it about Northweather. Like, he's projected to kind of be the bottom guy in the rotation, but he's going to play a role as a shooter. Like, if there's a slower footed big on the other side, like, he's going to be able to take advantage of him.
Yeah, it's quite insane. But to speak to Shawn Phillips for a minute, Javon Carter for a minute. Shawn Phillips, like you said, good rebounder, 10% on the offensive glass, almost 23% on the defensive glass. What's really striking is his turnover rate is like 25%, to just a 6% assist rate. Like, as a big, turn it over, like, his assist rate or his turnover rate at 25% is quite striking. It's quite a big number. But he'll be a offensive rebound, dunker, lob threat, screener, roller. He'll be impactful as like a weak side rim protector. He'll be great in that role. Javon Carter, I think, maybe provides a bit more versatility on both ends. I think he's just a little bit. He's got some quickness to him, and he can kind of go by off the bounce if he gets certain matchups on him. Has the ability to go kind of finish with authority, of course, at 6'11". But and he's also a somewhat capable 3-point shooter. I mean, 32%, just about. I think sometimes he likes to take a few more than he should. Took 152 last year, but at 32%, that probably ranks decently on the Missouri roster. They're just going to play and try to get on the offensive glass and try to speed you up and turn you over. So, he won't be afraid to shoot it.
Yeah. I mean, I think Porter was more of just like kind of an upside chance here from Dennis Gates. He's obviously shown a lot of things. He's popped at times, at LMU and Pepperdine. I think he's obviously shown that he can be a high level scorer. He's shown 3-level scoring abilities, but it's just the efficiency that's kind of been an issue. I mean, he shot at 39% last season as a 6'11" forward. That's just not really going to cut it. Maybe playing in a secondary role and playing in a transition-based offense is going to help him out a little bit more, allow him to showcase his talent in the open floor a little bit more. But it just kind of remains to be seen what kind of impact he could be in the SEC right now.
Yeah. So what do we see for this Missouri team? Last year, of course, ended up being a 6 seed, very much exceeded expectations last year. What do we expect for them this year? Are they better, worse, right around the same? It's obviously a hard team to predict because you don't know game to game, week to week, what rotations are going to look like and what guys
minute to minute.
Yeah, you just don't know. So what are we expecting?
I mean, this team shocked me last year with what they were able to do. I mean, obviously, to be honest, in the preseason, I had them towards the bottom of my ratings, and they exceeded those expectations by a ton. And I don't think there was much expected of them by anyone, like any of the national media and just really any college basketball fan in general. I don't really think expected them to do all that much, but they've kind of burst onto the scene. And while these transfers, like, they don't really wow anybody, Sebastian Mack being the most notable guy. I mean, they brought in some guys who can play some roles and fill in. They didn't really have to do much from like a star standpoint. I mean, obviously you're returning probably your most impactful player in Mark Mitchell. Anthony Robinson has true like breakout star potential. Like he's a super talented guard getting downhill, a great advantage creator with burst. He's going to get to the line at a super high clip. Great defensive playmaker as well. And then guys like, Trent Pierce, who has some upside, has some 3-level scoring upside. Cruz is going to come in and knock down threes despite him not having the greatest year last year. But yeah, I just think you kind of have to expect this team to be a little bit worse than they were last year. I just think they kind of surprised me a little bit too much from an offensive standpoint. And I'm not going to say there's going to be regression here, but I just think, the guys that they lost on the wings, like in Caleb Grill and Tamar Bates and even Tony Perkins was really good last year from a two-way sense. I just think it's going to be really hard for them to match this. Although I can easily see them being in the tournament again.
You're gonna do Tamar Bates like that and not call him Scoop?
No, Scoop Bates, my bad.
Come on. I agree though. I think they're gonna be worse just because I think they overachieved last year. They'll still be like, it won't be a situation like we saw a couple of years ago with South Carolina and like their overachievement and then last year falling off. Like they're still going to be a respectable, good team that's going to compete because of their style. And, Dennis Gates, for all of his rotational craziness, like I do think he does a pretty good job. So I think they'll be fine. Like they'll be like middle of the pack. Maybe they're going to compete in most games, I think. But I do think they're going to be a little bit worse. I don't think they're going to have quite as much like good fortune in some of those closer games. But of course, that's just a random prediction, probably. Like close game luck, it's hard to predict. Before in July anyway. But hey, guess what? Today we hit less than 100 days to the season. So right around the corner. It's kind of coming a little bit too quick.
It is, especially for all the extra content that we're going to be providing, because we're going to be talking about Missouri again come team previews. Maybe we have a different opinion on them when that comes around, when we dive into some of the freshman guys here. Obviously, Trent Burns, the 7'5" redshirt freshman, that maybe he plays a little bit of a role, and then another 4-star Aaron Rowe.
He's on roster. He's going to play.
Oh, he's on the roster. He should play. I'm surprised he redshirted. I'm surprised the red shirt didn't get burnt in one game that Gates really wanted them to go out there. But yeah, our opinions might change here. There's going to be plenty more content. Yeah, it's getting close.
Yeah, no doubt. But that's it for Missouri for now. We'll wrap things up. Thanks for listening to the Mainly Hoops podcast, and we'll talk to you again next time.